Hey everyone, welcome to PEbits, and we're going to be creating an image slider using straight CSS and HTML 5, no JavaScript. So I will be posting one that uses JavaScript in another video, but for now this one is just using style sheets and straight HTML5 to create an image slider. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go into our file, and we'll go to HTML none, and we'll do a doc type of HTML5, and we'll just give this a title, PEbits Image Slider. And then the next thing we need to do is create this container that houses the UI, our navigation here, our buttons. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my cursor in the body. I'll go into my insert tab and I'll insert a div tag, and I'll give this an ID, call it UI holder, and I'll do a new style. The style will be an ID. It'll be inside of this document, and I'll click OK. So in here I need to give this a background color, and the background color for this slider will be black, so I'll just leave it at that. The width of the box is going to be a little bit larger than the images, so I resized my images, and all my images have a width of 400 and a height of 267. So for this window I will need to make it bigger than the images, so I have that frame around it. So in this case, since the images are 400 by 267, I'm going to make my width 440 by 350 should be good. That'll be pixels. I will set my margin here for auto left and auto right, so this way it is centered. And then under positioning I'm going to set this to relative, and that should do it for our container, and there it is. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the image holder, the window that holds the image, and that's going to live inside of this container. So again, I'll put my cursor in the div here. I will delete the text that it added right there. I'll go back to insert div, and this time I'm going to make it a UI, and I'm going to call this image window. This is the little window that the images are going to be sliding in. Again, I'll make it an ID, and I'll click OK. So for this one, for the sake of this, I'll just make it white so we can see the actual window back here. I'm going to set the width and height of this to the same size as my image, so this way it will display the full image, and in this case that is 400 by 267. I'm going to center it, so I'm going to auto right and auto left that. I'm going to set my position on this to relative, and then what I might do is slide it down from the top a little bit. So under positioning top, just slide it down maybe like 13 pixels, and then I'll click OK. And what I'm going to do is later on I'm going to come in and I'll adjust my overflow, but for now I'm going to just leave this so you can kind of see the process happen as we move along. So now we have this white window frame where all our images are going to be stored. So moving along, now what we're going to do is we're going to add the image holder, and what this is going to do is it's going to hold all of the images and the image is going to span outside of this window right here. So again, we're going to delete the text that was added here, and then we're going to go to insert div again, and I will make this an image container. New CSS rule. Again, it'll be an ID. I'll click OK. And for this one, I'm not going to give it any background color. I am going to set the width of this container so it is 2000 pixels wide. I did that because I am using 4 images, so should be within, let's see, 448 1600. So that should be good for about 5 images, and then we will be able to set the height to 267, and we will set the positioning to relative on this. We will set the left on this to 0, the top to 0, so this way it's positioned at the top left here. And then I think that's all we need for this, and I will click OK. Click OK again, and you can see that in our window here it's got this container for our images. So now all I have to do is start inserting my images. So again, I'll put my text in here, and I'm going to go to insert image. I'm going to locate my image folder, just locating it. Where is it? There we go. So that's our first image. I'm going to save this so I have I'm just saving this as image slider. Alright, so once I saved my HTML file, my absolute path turned into a relative path, so I'm good to go. I'm going to just keep going with inserting my images. So I'm just going to go insert image, click on the next one, insert image, next one, insert image, and then insert image. So this is our slider, our series of images. So in that sense, we're all good to go. Now what I'm going to do, I just wanted to show the image holder so you could see how it's arranged. And basically the gist here is that we're going to use CSS transitions, and since we know that the width is 400, we're going to just make the button, when we click on it, move this holder minus 400 every time they click on it. So this way it will slide over to the left or to the right depending on which button you click on. So now what we can do is I'll go into my CSS designer and I will click on the image window, and in the image window I'm going to locate the overflow right here, and I'm going to set the overflow to hidden on the X and the Y. And this way you can see that it's just the one image that's in that window now that we see. So I clicked on the image window, which is that box right here, and then I went down into my layout, into my CSS designer, went to overflow X and overflow Y, and went to hidden, and that just hid anything that was to the right. And just so the scrolling doesn't happen, I hid the Y as well. So now that we have that basic framework done, what we're going to do is we're going to add our buttons to our overall file, and we're going to add the buttons outside of the image window and the image container. So that is the end of the image holder right here, and then this is the end of the image container. So outside of here, I'm going to create a button style or class. So I will insert, oops, right here, I'll insert a div. This will be a class. I'll call it button. And you can do whatever you want with this button style, but I'm going to make it a class. And with this class, I'll give it a background color like a blue. That works. Let's see, any of this stuff. We will set it to 15 pixels wide, 15 height. That looks good. We can give it a border style, solid, do it medium, maybe make it white, and we can click OK and see how that looks. And we don't need anything inside of it, so I'll get rid of that. So there is our button. I'm going to come down here under button, go over to my positioning, oh, to make it round, I'm going to actually use a radius here. So this way I can get a overall round. See how it's curving around? I gotta lock all these. There we go. And you can see how it's creating that circle. So I use the border radius for that. And now I am going to go to my position, set the position to relative, and then I'm going to just start positioning the button. And right now I'm going to set the button left to 25%, and I'm going to set it pixel wise, so it goes down here maybe to -30. I think that works. And now all I have to do is actually duplicate this button. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it, paste it again, paste it again, paste it again. So I have my 5 buttons for my 5 images, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right now they're all stacking to the bottom, and so I need to float this to the left so all the buttons have that right in a row. And then the last thing I think I need to do for this one is just set its margin here, so this way I can give the buttons a little bit more spacing. There we go. Something like that. That works. Okay, so now that we have this, what we need to do is make these active, and then this needs to actively trigger the moving. Now at this point, this is where you would use a JavaScript to change the variable for which button you click on. And so a nice workaround that I found we could do is these nested div tags. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a div right here, right after the image window. I'm just going to come in here like this, and I'm going to add, and we'll just do the first one. I'm going to add a div tag here, and I'm going to just give it an ID, and it'll be called 1 for my first image. And then I'm going to close that div tag right before my buttons. So right here, I'm going to just close that div tag. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a link right here, a href, and I'm going to target that ID. So this way what's going to happen is when I load this at the top, when I click here, at the top of the URL, it adds that hashtag or #1, and it loads this piece up again. So it loads this page up with this target. And then now what we're going to do is in our styles, we're going to create a target for that that container to move. So I'm going to finish writing this. So we have our href like that, and then I'll close that link. So we have that link active now for that first button. And now what we need to do up here in our style is create. So I just went up to my style tags up here, and we're going to create one, and then this is a pseudo. So we're going to do target, and then what we need to do is, so when this page loads, it's going to trigger this one, but then what we need to do is modify something, and the property that we're going to be modifying is the left attribute. So we're going to go into the image container, right? There it is. And what we want to do here is we want to adjust the left, and this is our very first one, so it would be 0 pixels, but just so we can see what happens for testing purposes, do 400 minus 400 pixels, and then let's do a quick test to see, save it, if it works. There it goes. So did you see how it just popped? We're going to work on the sliding in a minute, but you're going to do the exact same thing for these other ones. So the easiest thing to do is just come in here, copy, and paste this. So 4 more times. So this is going to be 2. This is going to be 3. This is going to be 4. And so our left here is going to be 0. So when they click on the first one, that's where it's going to move to. The next one, it's going to slide it all over, so it's at 400, then 800, then 1200, and 16, minus 16, and I'm just going to add a return after all of these, so this way we have a little bit cleaner. Ooh, got 2 ones, don't need that. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, minus 400, minus 800, minus 1200, minus 1600 pixels. And now down here, I need to create these div tags. So this is going to be 2. This is going to be 3, 4, and 5. So I need to close those div tags here. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I need to create the links for each of these. So I'm just gonna, again, copying and pasting being a favorite here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I need to close all of these tags. So again, I'll just copy and paste that closing tag. Save this, preview it, and now when we click on this, we should be jumping to those specific images. Now if you're happy with that, that's good, but now what we can do is we can leverage CSS transitions and we can actually see the images slide in here. So we'll come back here, we'll go under our Windows, CSS transitions, we'll add a transition, and it's targeting what rule. So in here we're going to do the image container, so the image that contains all of them, we want that to slide. And for now, you could have target. Why don't we see what happens when we specify target. This is the duration of the slide. So I want the slide from one image to the next image to take 1 second. I don't want any delays, and I'm going to ease in and out of my move. I'll come in here. The property that I want to impact is going to be left, and for the end value for now, we're going to delete this, so we'll just keep this as 0, but we'll create the transition. And what that does is in our image container, it adds these WebKits for the transition to take effect. And then it also added a target. Now we already have that up here, so we don't need this in here. So I'm just going to delete that. And now when we preview this, I'm just going to save it. Hopefully we have our nice ease in and out and our sliding. So again, no JavaScript code, using straight CSS. It's kind of convoluted with these nested divs, but I'll be creating another video that will use a JavaScript, so you won't need to do this, but get the similar slider that we just created. So if you like this tutorial and you want to subscribe to the channel. More videos will be coming soon, and feel free to leave comments, or if you have questions, leave them below. Thanks.